Hey guys, sorry, I'm still getting started here. My apologies. How's everyone doing today? So we have a focus. We have a main focus today, and something we'd like to absolutely talk to you about right off the bat. And again, it's right above my head, as you can see. So we're gonna discuss this today. We're gonna talk about how this is a huge problem, uh, and how we just need to discuss it and get some of the information out there. So anyway, here we go. Basically, modern scams have become this thing where it's the sort of thing where even somebody smart, even somebody like skilled with this stuff, with technology, and can recognize a scam, might actually be fooled. And this is the unfortunate future that we live in, where scams are probably being theorized using AI, maybe even carried out using AI, and that is the top level of what we're going to get into. But that's like the end. That's the end, because that is something that we have to tread carefully, and it's something that's an ever growing problem. So let me start at the beginning here. And let me just start you with an article I found with some information posted actually just March of this year, talking about um, apparently hundreds of malicious apps were hosted on the Google Play Store and were downloaded. And it says 60 million downloads total. Now remember, this was just back in March that this was posted about. And so this is current. This isn't something I'm like old news. This is current. This is what's happening. And 60 million people possibly were affected. Now what we have to realize with that number is that with 60 million, consider how many people are tied to each individual person out of that 60 million. How many other people's data are tied to this? So let's say it wasn't an adult that downloaded the app, right? So now that involves several people's data instead of just one person's data. Like a family or something like that using the same device, or you get what I'm saying. And whoever else would be on that, basically. So this is going to be what leads me into some other stuff I'm going to talk about. But let's go over this. This is just on the Google Play Store. Not even again a year ago that this year that this is reported. 60 million downloads for these malicious apps, and 330 at least 331 apps, different ones, were apparently maliciously available for people to download. 331 different ones. So just that many apps floating around that are scams that we know about, that we found out about, that we know about. How many do you think are right now on the Google Play Store that you don't know about? That are masquerading as this and that, and maybe they slide under the radar a little bit until they get enough data. And then you have problem after problem after problem with the app conveniently. But now they have your data. So now the app doesn't need to work for you. So that's what I'm starting to realize might actually be happening, but that's my theory. That's me interjecting my theory there. I'm not getting that from this, so I just wanted to throw that out there, right there, right there. Uh, let's talk more about this though. Um, so just reading on here, Oh, well, yeah. Now, this is something that did happen to me that it's actually mentioning here, too. Even on the Prism app, you guys know how I use the Prism app to do my streaming and stuff. I'm not making this really happened. I finished my stream the other day, and I got an ad in the app. After I finished my stream, I'm like, why is it freezing? And no lie, it brings up a full screen ad right in the app. I'm not making that up. I'm trying to like finish the stream and just go back, and it brings up a full screen ad. And again, it like kind of froze a little bit first, like it wouldn't let me. This is how they're getting you. That shouldn't be happening. It shouldn't be happening when I use a cookie cleaner, where like there's ads in there to get you as you're cleaning. No, no. That defeats the purpose. Yes, I'm sure the app has data brokers that they go through that have advertisements, but they shouldn't be all over the app as you're trying to use the app for specifically that purpose. Hello. So that's what I have experienced firsthand, and I have confirmed this with also another expert. That person also agreed. Yeah, that really shouldn't be happening. So let's continue. What is this? Modern scams look real. This is an update on how you can keep aware and up to date on modern scams, and we're gonna talk about this. This is fascinating. Some of the information it's actually giving here too. So, apparently, some of these apps mimic like QR scanners. So, like, you know, like the things that scan QR codes, there is data attached to that. So that's actually really smart. They're scanning the QR, they're getting more data that way. So, you know, like if you're in a store and you're scanning a QR code, now they know what store you're in, and they know the product you were looking at, they know what to sell you, basically. Expense tracking apps. So obviously that's not good. We know what that does. Expense tracking apps. I mean, come on. It's an app specifically for tracking your expenses, so that you put your bank account information, stuff like that in it. Yeah, okay. Health apps. Health apps. Come on. So we're gonna get to why certain parts, like, we're gonna talk about certain parts of the world too. We're gonna talk about how there's a lot of scams conveniently coming out of just a certain part of the world. That is important to remember, and it's important to consider when thinking about, actually, believe it or not, modern politics. Like, I don't want to involve politics, but it actually is important to remember that all these scams come from a certain part of the world where they don't have solid governments. So, apparently wallpaper apps was another one. That's a common one. That's unfortunate. If you guys want good wallpaper, I always used an app. Now, oh my gosh, they're gonna. I hope they got. I'm sure they're fine. They seem fine. There's an app called Zedge. Now it has ads and stuff like that, but I mean, I honestly think it's fine. You can look at it if you want. I think it's fine. They have tons of wallpapers, so many. I have always, like, again, that's a good one. So again, don't just go around, just pick one, you know, or just find them on Google or something like that. But don't sit there and install wallpaper apps. There's really no reason for that. Yeah, that's gonna use, like, that one even I knew about. So anyway, this article has like specific code embedded. This is a really good article. Hold on. I'm gonna put this in the description. I'm gonna put this article in the description for you guys because I think you guys need to see this. And this information is coming directly from Bitdefender. Bitdefender is a very good virus software. It is one of the top. They know what they're talking about. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you. I really appreciate it. This is directly from bitdefender.com. So there you go. That is now in the description. You can check that out anytime you want. Okay, that's what I'm looking at, that article right there. That has a lot of information, especially if you are somebody that's trying to get ahead of this. Maybe you do this for a living and you want to look at some of the scams and you want to like see if you can get on it. There's code in here. There's like screenshots of code in here. So seriously, look at that. Like there's like a bunch of screenshots of code in here and how they did it. They're giving you a technical overview on how it happened. That is, I can't speak enough for how much that helps the community when they do something like that. So huge props to Bitdefender for putting this on here. There's a bunch of screenshots on here. This is incredibly informative. I would highly recommend checking that out. But anyway, let's get to some other stuff. Okay. This is posted as of... Google probably knows I'm going to talk about this. I'm not going to get mad at you, Google, don't worry. I'm just talking about it. This is as of yesterday. This is posted as of yesterday. August 12th, 2025. There was another breach. And it was Google. And apparently this group stole approximately 2.55 million customer data records. And they breached the actual, was it the CRM? No, I can't find it. Yeah. Yep. 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 So directly the CRM itself. They got too much, basically. I'm sure you guys know what that means if you're... I don't want to talk too much about it, but like yeah, like that is a big one. This is posted as of yesterday, and yeah, 2.55 million customer data records apparently breached. This is crazy, and again, this is gonna lead me into what I'm gonna talk about, but let's build up to it. Now, you guys have heard me say this before, and I'm going to say it again, and please don't take this as like a, I really want you to, like, you need to hear what I'm saying or anything like that. I just, please hear me out is what I'm trying to say. Don't dismiss what I'm saying. Cryptocurrency is inherently a scam, but when you define it at its core definition, it will seem like it's not. So I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to try to help you understand and get to that understanding and why I believe that. Because again, at its core, it's not, except it is. So I plugged this into Gemini, and Gemini actually sort of agreed with me while saying exactly what I just said. It sort of did. And okay, so basically, here's what I actually typed into Gemini, because again, when you use AI, you can't just use AI, you have to understand what to ask. The AI is just going to do it based on your parameters. So if you provide a little bit of a hint of information, if I think it's this, it might go down that investigative route and find something it didn't find. It's still going to say, no, I didn't find that if it doesn't. So here's what I plugged into Gemini. Technically, cryptocurrency is mostly a scam since nothing is backing it, with exception of the ones with a credit card company or something like that. That's all I typed. And yeah, like basically it does absolutely say cryptocurrency in essence is not inherently a scam. It's digital currency designed to operate on a decentralized network using blockchain technology. However, the crypto world does attract scammers due to its complexity and potential profit. So, it partially agrees but again, what you need to realize is it's just defining cryptocurrency as, at a definition, core definition, isn't really a scam, but it doesn't understand what I'm trying to say. It doesn't understand that all money and all anything that we would understand as value, having values backed by something, like money, like your money and stuff like that, like the US dollar and stuff, like that is backed by something. And when you just sort of do this, like I said, unless it has a bank or an organization, you don't know where that's coming from. And so, yeah, then it goes right after saying this, basically, yeah, like it starts backing and stability. It literally agrees with me. It starts breaking it down. The very first thing after that, here's a breakdown of the points you raised and some additional context. Backing and stability. Most cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum, I haven't even heard of that one, are not backed. Is that how you say that? Are not backed by physical commodities like government-issued currencies. Their value is derived from factors like market demand, scarcity, and underlying technology securities. That is not a backing. That's an investment. It's a stock. It's a scam. It's not money. People think it's money. You look at it more as a stock. Now it's getting more accurate. And again, it's not backed by U.S. stock and by all these big... No, it's just backed by whatever those... If it's Bitcoin, okay, maybe. But cryptocurrency as a whole, like Bitcoin's, that's been around, like that, people backed that. But like, that's all I'm saying. And it's still like, you think about it like more of a stock. So then, again, we come down to this next one, risks and scams, volatility. Cryptocurrency prices can fluctuate significantly, leading to potential financial losses. Yes, just like stock. Except this is unpredictable. Lack of government backing and insurance. Unlike traditional banks, cryptocurrency holdings are not typically insured by governments like the FDIC. So why would you invest in something like that? Frauds and scams. The crypto space has seen its share of scams, including Ponzi schemes, fake investment opportunities, and hacking incidents. The FBI estimated that crypto fraud cost American investors $4.8 billion in 2023. I'll read that statement again. The FBI estimated that crypto fraud cost American investors $4.8 billion in 2023. And you think it's not a scam. If something's costing you billions, when is it a scam, man? When? I'm just trying to be helpful. If something's costing you billions, when is it a scam? At what point? Is it 5? Is it 4.9? Is it 5.1? Because that's a lot of money. The FBI seem to think so. Anyway, irreversible transactions. Once a cryptocurrency transaction is sent, it's generally irreversible, unlike some traditional payment methods. Yeah, hence why the scammers love it. And then, yeah, it backs up the cryptocurrency. And I like how it breaks this down. This is really good. Legitimacy and use cases. The very first bullet point here, I really like this. While some scams exist, cryptocurrency itself is not a scam. I like that. That is exactly what I was trying to say. It is not inherently itself a scam to think of cryptocurrency as a scam. But again, it goes on to say it's generally irreversible. And again, the underlying blockchain technology as legitimate applications beyond currencies. So that's a really weird statement, but basically what it's saying is, again, you would blame the blockchain technology, not cryptocurrency as a whole. And that's what I'm saying. Just like when you sit here and you point the finger at certain people in politics and stuff, no, that's propaganda, man. Look at the facts. That's what they want you to do. Don't inherently blame the politicians. Blame the broken system. Fix the system. So, again, there's something inherently broken about this, and nobody's doing anything. And cryptocurrency, again, $4.8 billion in 2023. In conclusion, while the cryptocurrency market has risks and has been targeted by scammers, it's important to differentiate between the technology and malicious actors or fraudulent schemes. And then it does go on to say stablecoins aim to mitigate volatility, but even they carry a counterparty risks. Investors should be aware of the potential risks and do their due diligence before engaging with any cryptocurrency. Do their due diligence. I apologize, I misread that. Do their due diligence before engaging with any cryptocurrency or related products. Yes, absolutely. Don't just invest in crypto blindly, like a lot of people were, actually, as we all know. All right, so now let me get the map out again. We're gonna get the map out again. We gotta get the map out, guys. Okay, so let's talk about this. Now, remember, I want you to understand this is intelligence. This is how we relate what's going on in the governments around the world and here to what's happening and why. And suddenly it all start making sense. So here's our map again. We talked about we got out a digital map for you guys. We got a physical map today. We got the physical map today. Okay, so remember, here's this big thing over here that we know is Russia. This giant thing over here is Russia. That that big yellow thing right there, that's Russia. And they want more land, man. They're bigger than we are. Yep, that's Russia. That big yellow thing right there. That's Russia, and they want more land, okay? So, understand that, okay, first of all. Secondly, why is it that all the scams in all of the world seem to happen pretty much right here? Why is that? I can just draw a circle. Why is that? Now, they trickle down. They trickle down. They go down here too. They go down here. There's scams in the United Kingdom. There's scams all over. But there's so many scams coming out of this region of the world right here. Just an abhorrent amount, like just absurd. Why is that? Now, first of all, because half the world is literally right here and right here. This is half the world. Half the world's population is here and here. China and India. Half. So just putting that into perspective for you guys. That is half the world's population. Now I'll ask you a question. Do you think that China and India have stable governments? Now, keep in mind the map we just had and all the countries that are surrounding them, like Russia, North Korea. Okay? Keep that in mind. And North Korea is attached to China. Did you know that? So keep that in mind. And so when we see this happen, and again, you have all these governments around the world that they're not developed. You know, they're not developed. They're just lying. It's all propaganda, and like basically they take all of the riches for themselves. This is how it works. They take all the riches for themselves, and everybody else lives in poverty. What do you think is starting to happen with a current president that thinks that those are good ideas, that thinks like that too? Where we see the same sorts of things like happen in this country, where that's what's changing here too, and then the scams increase. Do you believe that Al-Qaeda in general, just as a generalization, do you believe them to be our enemy? And if you do you believe that our current president, and not to make things too political, but do you think that it's a good idea that he accepted a plane from Qatar? And again, something that is illegal, that if you accept things from other countries and stuff like that, even as a politician, you'd go to jail. That is incredibly illegal. And that's happened. And this guy accepts a plane. And it's the very thing that Al-Qaeda was trying to crash back at 9/11. and this guy accepts a plane. I'm just going to start putting that together in my own head. Okay? So I'm asking you to do the same thing. I'm asking you to call the man out. I'm asking you to call out all this mumbo jumbo nonsense where he looks older every second I see him. He's worried about everything. He has something new. He's locking down the city. He's barricading himself in. I'm calling you all to, again, not to make it too political, but to recognize when a tyranny is in place. And that is the biggest scam of them all, what is happening in Washington. There is incredibly illegal stuff going on, stuff that that guy can't do, stuff that he is doing illegal. And just like these modern scams looking real, nobody's questioning it. Well, some people are, except, again, the Republicans that are given the power to do this, and they shouldn't be. That's what you have to question. So again, that's not me choosing a political side. That's me recognizing a scam when I see it. Just as I'm recognizing all these other things and we're piecing them together. Okay? So together. So let's do that. Let's continue doing that. And something I'd like to dive into now is here's what I asked Gemini. Okay? I think you'll find this interesting. Now let me start with this. Let's get the map out here really quick. And let me start with this. This is India here. So if you see Russia here, this is Russia. This is how big Russia is. This is the United States. Right here. That green thing. And Alaska. This is Canada. That's Russia, okay? Russia's got more land than anybody, okay? But if we look at India, we're just looking at India right here. All right, that's India, okay? There. Here's Russia. Here's China. Here's India. This is Pakistan, right here. This green thing right here, that's Pakistan. All right? Pakistan's right there. And if we look at India, and we know the city where a lot of these scams come from, New Delhi. There's so many scams out of New Delhi. Pakistan is geographically super close to New Delhi. Super close. So, when I go to Google and I type in, is there any evidence of old cell phones and device scams happening out of Pakistan? Gemini simply goes, yes, there is evidence of scams involving old cell phones and devices originating from Pakistan. One common scam involves sellers advertising old repackaged phones, sometimes referred to as kit phones, often old Oppo or Vivo devices, as brand new, even though they are technologically outdated and have security vulnerabilities. These devices may also have cloned IMEIs, known as International Mobile Equipment Identity. I don't know why it's defining that. Everybody knows what an IMEI is, right? To falsely appear PTA approved in Pakistan, but this approval can be temporarily, leading to the device becoming unusable after a few weeks. I'm sorry, I misread that. Temporary, not temporarily. Can become temporary. Victims have also reported instances of purchasing what appeared to be genuine PTA-approved cell phones, only to later discover the IMEI was cloned, resulting in signal issues and eventual device blocking, according to Reddit user reports. And I would trust that, because Reddit typically is pissed off people posting shit. Something happened, they investigated it, and they're posting it. And we're going to get to some of that too, but that's pretty credible. This type of fraud highlights the importance of exercising caution when purchasing mobile devices, especially in situations where the deal seems too good to be true, and thoroughly verifying the device's authenticity and registration status. So, when New Delhi is like geographically right next to the border of Pakistan, and Pakistan's doing that shit, where do you think they're getting all their devices and info from? I mean, not all of it, right? But where do you think they're getting some of it from, right? So, that's pretty interesting. And just from me standing here looking at a map, seeing that Pakistan was geographically that close to New Delhi, yeah. It's probably 2 hours. If I had to guess, I'd say that's probably 2 hours. Like a 2 hour drive to the border from New Delhi. That'd be my guess. Just looking at the map. And you don't think that's legit, you know? You know what I'm saying? I do. I think that's legit. So anyway, then we're gonna get to YouTube. Now YouTube's gonna be so mad. I don't care. So you guys know how like I can't use the YouTube app for like anything anymore. Like it says breaking, all these things are happening. I simply typed in the Gemini, is there any history? Oh my god, I need to fix that history. It knows what I said. Of malicious attacks on the YouTube app. Yes, there is a history. It does spell it correctly, so it knows. Of malicious attacks and security vulnerabilities on the YouTube platform targeting its users. Oh, and remember, this is Gemini. This is Google's thing. So if Google's saying it, yeah, I mean, like, there's a good chance they're aware and they're not happy about it either. They're, you know, just this is Gemini just compiling it, being honest. Here's a summary of some notable attacks and vulnerabilities. Phishing and malware campaigns targeting YouTube creators. Attackers and phishing emails, often disguised as sponsorship offers, to trick creators into downloading malware that steals account credentials and or session tokens. These emails can even leverage YouTube's share video by email feature. So if you have a bunch of people randomly coming into your chat offering things and stuff like that, trying to get you to use it, yeah, that's not really the way to do that, and it's gonna look like a phishing scam. So like, even if you're like legit and you're trying to do that, I'm just saying, most of us, this is what we see. We get, like, they're trying to scam us. We can't let you come in chat and ask to be mods and ask for, you know, like that's what we're, like, anymore. That's what's going on. So like, you guys think you're gonna reach a creator like that? It's not gonna happen anymore. You can't go in chats and try to be seen and become anything. It's not happening anymore because of this. So again, I'm just putting that out there again for creators too, to be safe. But for sure, like, if you're just legitimately offering, and I appreciate it, but this is why I'm not responding to that and I'm not giving it any time of day, because I can't. I physically just I can't. I have no way of verifying scam or real person. And malware distribution through videos. Hackers embed malicious links in video descriptions or comments that lead users to websites hosting malware or trick. I'm going to cut myself off there and tell you this is the porn stuff I was talking about. That's why it's there. Like, it's not there to get you, like, yeah, maybe it's there to get you to look at it, but it's more there to get you to click on the malicious link. Okay, so that's the danger. The danger is that they get your data. Okay, like, obviously the danger is that it's there too, but the danger is mainly that they're gonna have you click on a link and now they have all your data and you're breached. It's just one click, that's all it takes. Trick them into downloading malware disguised as legitimate software. This tactic often leverages social engineering, such as promising cracked software tutorials, according to Cyber Reason, and that's pretty reliable. Channel hijacking. Compromised accounts are used to promote scams, including cryptocurrency giveaways, or to spread disinformation, says HelpNet Security. Yes, absolutely. We've seen that all throughout the propaganda political stuff spectrum where they're doing that. It's pretty interesting. It's just like people that you see that you know flat out that's not their, like they stole that from somebody. They're not that popular. You know, like those people, you just know. Let me also throw this out there in the middle of this too. If somebody is sitting on a stream holding up a sign, and the sign has a bunch of words on it, and their chat's full of stuff, their chat is just going like crazy, that's a scam. Because the point is they're trying to trigger you to, like, they're not saying anything, right? They're trying to get money out of you, legitimate people in the chat. You see so many people, it's fake. It's to get the legit real people to interact in a way, because again they know who the fake ones are. They can recognize that. It's a way to get you to interact, and it's a way to get money out of you, extort money out of you, and things like that. Truthfully, they will sit there, you will see so many donations, and they'll just, like, the sign will say something like, not speaking until you donate. Okay, that's a little bit weird and very scammy, because again, you're doing a stream and you're baiting, and then you're holding up a sign, and then at the same time I see donations. I see it. And they're still not talking. And then the whole stream goes by. And it's that. And I'm like, okay. Be aware. Be very wary. Because not only are they probably a scammer, if they're not, oh yeah, I guarantee you some scammer has breached them and they're using all of that situation. They're using all of that. They love that. So, like, even if they're not the scammer, some scammer is in their you know what I'm saying? So, just be aware. Let's continue reading here. Data breaches and vulnerabilities. This is from the YouTube app. Remember, this is the app, not the desktop. There are apparently no known widespread breaches to the YouTube database in general. But Google, yes. So that doesn't really translate, in my opinion. If it's Google, then you know that, you know what I'm saying. Like, it's so data breaches and vulnerabilities. Again, this is YouTube app. 2020 data breach. A security vulnerability allowed unauthorized access to users viewing history, favorites, playlists, according to Twingate. That is bad. That is bad. Let's go take a look at that. YouTube data breach. Oh no, this was only a year ago. Oh no. Oh no, it was in 2020. That was wow, that's COVID. That's not good. Oh man, wow. Yeah, and it's a social data breach alongside TikTok and Instagram. Big surprise. 235 million people. What was the data? So the data that was breached were names, contact information, images, statistics about followers, YouTube viewing history, favorites, and playlists. That's insane. And then YouTube has all this stuff where, like, Gemini will say that there's no breach, yet clearly right here it is. It was a so it was a security. They launched a bug into their security that allowed embedded YouTube videos access to account information like viewing history, favorites, playlists. Wow. Wow. This is crazy. That's not good. It's not good at all. Okay, so let's talk about what I experienced too. That this is something you need to hear about this, because I will put my foot down with any company that sits here and has a widespread evidence, like where people are reporting it, and then they jump all over that to be like, no, we're not doing anything. Like, they don't show up to help. They show up to look guilty. That I'll jump all over. Because let me tell you something. It's super clear to me that while scammers use, like, we'll take AnyDesk, for example. While they use this product to the disadvantage of scammers, AnyDesk has made it obliviously obvious they don't like this. And they have shown up in force to help anybody that is fighting against that cause. So that's good. That's what you do. You take that responsibility. This is like eye-opening when I see something like this. So I'm going to talk to you about this because I think this is really, because that's what that when I see that happening, I see other companies do it too, where they don't necessarily have to do it to that degree where they jump on board and like help people catch them and stuff. But at least they accept responsibility and admit it. They're not like defending implicitly and showing up in forums and like commenting huge comments and stuff like that. That's like, holy sh. That's like, whoa, 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 ding, 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 found you. So, here we go. BlueStacks. We probably heard about it. It's a software, totally free, open source, right? Basically, the point is, this software lets you emulate. It does various things. You can run Android emulation, so you can run Android OS on your Windows PC, and that's how they're getting people. People want this for emulation and stuff like that. Problem is, if you use it, you have to enable a feature in Windows that disables a lot of security features for you. So now this software becomes malicious just because the software didn't understand that that should never happen. Your software needs to be emulated without that. And I can piece that together, yet they can't. So, and no lie, yeah, you can hide malware in software like that, that as soon as that happens, it detects that it happens, and bam. So I can see this, yet they can't. I think it's by design. I don't think it's by mistake. And I know there's software. I've seen software that's difficult to remove a lot. We talked about the Riot client. We talked about how that was malware, and I called that out. And now everybody's suddenly calling it out, but I called it out forever ago. And it got stepped on and censored. Nobody watched it. And the whole point was that if something is unremovable, if you can't remove it simply uninstalling it, like you uninstalled it and it has an error where it says you can't do that or something like that, that's malware. That is the definition. Just to let you know, that is like by inherently the definition of malware. Something that you, well, not necessarily didn't put there, that's different now. Because the whole point is that there's so many scam softwares, you can't tell if it's real or fake. So you got scammed, maybe you put it there, maybe you didn't, but now it's there and you can't get it off. If you can't get it off, that's malware. You have every right to remove software from your machine. That is your right. It is never, ever, ever just permanently there. And we've called this out for a couple of different things. There's an anti-cheat that does this too. That's actually malware. Instead of being anti-cheat, it's malware. It's insane. But yeah, like basically like they're so overly protective. They're so worried and concerned. Everybody's cheating. They basically hack everyone. That's what they basically like. That's basically what Riot and what's the one that Valorant uses? Whatever one that is, that one. That's the one. They'll hack you. You'll just install the game. Like, I don't even think I played it. I just installed it. Yeah, and then I was like, I'm gonna take this off, and I couldn't. I literally didn't even play it. I physically couldn't even remove the thing. I was like, whoa, it's a video game. Whoa, and I just installed it like 10 minutes ago. And I changed my mind. I'm like, yeah, that's bad, man. That's so bad. I do that too, and other people do that, and they know that. So, like, you just installed it, and you're trying to remove it? No, they want you to keep that, and they want to spy on you. Why do you install it? Oh, he must be trying to use it for malicious things. Maybe he stole it. Oh, he stole it and cracked it. Oh, we need to hack him. That's probably what they think, right? But this is the point. They shouldn't. That's not allowed. You know, like, they can't just hack everybody and do that. That's unconstitutional. So that's what you have to be worried about. And then your data, you know what I mean? Like, just because they're overly worried about this, now they do a bunch of things that exposes you. Does that make sense? And so because we have all these scams going on, the big companies are worried, and they are getting behind it, but the wrong way. They will sometimes expose you, thinking that because you're getting attacked, it's like you're the victim, you know? Something is happening to you, and then they attack you. So let's read about this BlueStacks. Warning! This is a year ago, by the way. Only a year ago. Warning, warning. And trust me, I've used BlueStacks before, and yes, I experienced this. Yes. Yesterday, I was searching to use Flick a Clip on Windows 10, only to find out it wasn't supported, so I went to an emulator. When I found BlueStacks, I decided to look it up. It was not safe. Or, I'm sorry, if it was safe or not. People said it was safe, while others said that they got viruses and all that. I decided, you know what? I'm sure it's fine. And I downloaded it. Lo and behold, when I did a Norton Smart scan, I found malware files and executables meant to hack my computer just through a Norton scan. Wow. I dealt with it, so it is resolved, but I wanted to say, do not install BlueStacks. Now, this is on Reddit. Is this too big for chat? No, I'm going to send this in chat. This is on Reddit. So you guys can have that. That's right on Reddit for you. I'm just reading through that. I'm not like reading an article. I'm just reading posts and stuff. So this is right on Reddit. And then BlueStacks support. They're like, whoa. They're like, hold on. They're like, hey, question, exclamation point. Hey. We would like to inform you that BlueStacks is absolutely safe to use, and our testimony is to the millions of users who use it all around the world. Oh my god, are you kidding? That's the first one! Oh my god. Like, that type of defense. Furthermore, we would like to know where you installed BlueStacks. Did you install it from our official website, bluestacks.com, or elsewhere? Please specify. So, of course, downloaded it from the BlueStacks website, did not install. Checked on virus total, and it flagged it as malware, more than likely a false positive, nevertheless. 48 replies. Let's see the replies for this one. 48 replies for this one. Let's see it. BlueStacks, this is the first one. Man, they were just on that, man. Hi! Exclamation point. As correctly mentioned, these reports are false positives. Oh, of course they are. As BlueStacks is completely safe. It's just getting humorous at this point. We also tested the latest version of BlueStacks and it came completely clean on virus total. Please see the image here for reference. So they tested it on their end of things where it's not breached. Oh my god. Are you stupid? Alright, so I'm just gonna... I'm sorry I went that route, but I have to explain how this works, I guess. It's not like BlueStacks is getting breached, because the point is that would be stupid. Then that's what scammers know now. Like, they're getting smarter, unfortunately. The whole point is that would tell them immediately and you'd be breached. So what they have to do is know where your traffic is routed. And that's oftentimes why, like, VPNs make things worse for people and stuff like that. If the VPN is in the country where the people are, or near them, makes it so much easier. Yeah, yeah. Part of the reason why scams were so hard for these guys originally is because we're so cut off for the rest of the world. So the point is, it happens after they download it. Like, your traffic is routed, and then after it's routed, it's implanted. It's not implanted on the server level. That would be incredibly stupid. So you get what I'm saying? It's not in the actual, like, source code file. So yeah, like BlueStacks might be on the right sort of thinking, like, where they downloaded it from, but then they downloaded it from their website, so inconclusive. like that's what they were thinking, like, yeah, alright, so it was a bad encrypted, no encryption website, right? No, encryption doesn't matter anymore, unfortunately. So anyway, let's keep going here. Can you please check your installer file name and share the version number from there so we can confirm your version, okay? And that's, I'll be honest, that is my interjection and my opinion of that, but I think it's correct to think that. We'd also love to help you install BlueStacks successfully. As you've mentioned, you were unable to install it. Can you please let us know what exactly happens when you try to install it so we can assist further? The response is, trust me, bro. Like, these responses are golden. Yeah, like everybody's just, like, bullshit. Well, this is a scam, LOL. Yeah, like nobody's buying this shit. Like, they look so guilty. I forget where it was. Basically, like, it's at a certain point, enough of these are upvoted where it's so many different people that are saying, yes, absolutely, everybody else, like, when you go across the internet and you look up BlueStacks, you can find huge amounts of evidence all across the internet of people saying, yeah, it gives you it's malware. Yes. And not just here. Not just here, but like elsewhere too. Like almost any forum where they're complaining about it being malware. And the whole point is that it's not inherently, the whole point is that it does things to your system it shouldn't do to leave you vulnerable. So that makes it malware. That's the point. You have to do that thing to install for the emulation. Hold on. It's virtualization, right? Hold on. I'll look at it. Yes. It's virtualization. You have to enable virtualization. I had to look at the word. I had to make sure I was right about the term. That's why. It's because in order to use that piece of software, you have to enable virtualization. That's why. And then when you look up all the people telling them how to do it, no lie, on YouTube, it's always an Indian person giving the video. And there's a ton of them. I'm not trying to be a certain way. I really am not. I promise you. I promise. I'm just putting it together. I'm just stating something as a commonality. They happen to be Indian people. They happen to have that accent. There's no camera. It's a very clean looking desktop. You know, like it's just, I'm just pointing it out. So I hope that's not the case. I hope they're just IT guys. Oh God. Yeah. This is the point. Like, I'm sure some people have been watching this and the technology is so over their head, they're like, they've lost me. And if that's the case, that's fine. But hopefully we could get to a certain point where you start understanding a bit better. But yeah, it's you know, again, that those parts of the world, rationalize that it all comes back to that part of the world where there's less of a system of governing that that regulates things. Do you understand? That's not a political mindset. Don't be political about that. Be political about how to regulate, not whether you should. Please, for the love of God, understand that. It's just the same as all I've explained here, where you use that type of thinking with this. Would you have no virus software? Would you just have no virus software today? Probably not. You know, like if you're doing, you know, like you're watching videos and stuff, like, would you just, no, you probably don't want that to happen. And then you see all the bloatware where so, all right, let me explain this. If, all right, so like let's say AVG, Avast, what's another free one? I don't know. We'll just say like you're using like the free, you're using Norton. like let's just talk about this for a second. Here's how a scammer can take advantage of your lack of knowledge. Okay? Like, let's say you don't know anything about virus softwares, okay? And you install, you want like extra protection. You watch this stream and you're like, "Oh my gosh, let me go out and get virus software now. I got to protect myself." So you go out and you buy Norton antivirus, and you're just like, "Man, this is good. I want more. You know, this is so good, I want more." And now you buy Malwarebytes and you buy super anti-spyware, and you get like a vast and like let's say you just get all this stuff because you don't know anything about how it works. Sounds pretty good on the surface, right? So you install all this stuff, and then the next day you wake up and your entire computer is breached. Because that's what would happen. If you did that, that would happen. If you installed Norton, Malwarebytes, Super Anti-Spy, like all this stuff, especially if you downloaded it from not their websites, but let's say you did, I guarantee you, especially if you bought Norton and then used all the free ones or the other ones, by the morning you would probably have viruses, you'd be breached. Now I'm going to explain why. Because you don't want more than one. And yet we see bloatware. You heard of that term? The term bloatware is what like companies will use, laptop companies and stuff like that, to install a whole bunch of software on your laptop right when you get it. It's just loaded with this crap, and then you start logging in and it has your data. And it's got Malwarebytes, Super Anti-Spyware, and Avast. Except the problem is they all conflict with each other. You need one. If you use something as a scanner, that's fine, but uninstall it. Get rid of it. Don't keep it there. If you have a good virus software, use that. That's it. Don't use another one, because they conflict and they cause problems for each other. So you got all these 5 freaking virus softwares. Meanwhile, you just got breached because you had that as bloatware, and you started logging in, and the people on the other end of the data brokerage are just scammers for the bloatware, not for the virus software. So therefore, now they have your data, and they breached you because you had security breaches in the fact that you were using like 5 different virus softwares, and they knew that. So they just waited, went to sleep or whatever. Bam, they went to work. And it doesn't take much anymore. So that's just one scenario, but it's literally a very, very possible scenario, and it does happen. And that is just one way to confuse people that wouldn't know anything. Like, that's very logical, you know? Oh, well, let's get more virus softwares to cover more security and to be more secure. An old person might think that. That's unfortunate. So you have to be aware of these things and how to protect yourself. Like, again, it's about a type of thinking. So once you get to that type of thinking, you don't necessarily need to know about the technology. It's just a type of thinking. Why would more mean more protection if the one virus software is supposed to protect you? Do you get what I'm saying? Why would more mean more protection when the one's supposed to protect you? So you get what I'm saying? So that maybe get a better one if it's not protecting you? Yes. Again, a scanner is okay, but uninstall it. Malwarebytes is great, by the way. Highly recommend. It's a great scanner. But don't leave it installed. It will interfere with things. It will. Do not do that. Your virus software should detect that. It should tell you. If it's a good virus software, it will detect and will tell you, you got to uninstall this. In fact, might call it malware. But it's just because it's conflicting with the permissions of that virus software. They actually start blocking each other. That's why. So yeah, BlueStacks is all over Reddit. And there's all these fake apps all over the Play Store. And again, that's as of that article again was back in March, right? And then there's this data breach we just looked at on YouTube. I'll give you that link too. Here. That's the YouTube data breach. I sent the link in chat. So the first link is the BlueStacks Reddit. The second link is the source for the YouTube data breach. Now, that also leads me to something too. If you share links, like on your social media, on your YouTube, in chat, be aware that, be aware that if you share a link, always, like if you got this from Google and you're in your Google searches and stuff like that, be aware that the link in your Google search, when you go to that site, will now be different than the actual link for the website and the article, because it has actual tracking code information in the link that can be linked to your data. Don't ever do that. So again, if you went to a site from your Google searches, sometimes it can include that in the link. It shouldn't, but it can. And if you're sharing that, just again, if it's a super long link and it looks weird, like this one, this is fine. This is fine, just /blog/tips/YouTube-tata-breach. There's not a bunch of percentages and numbers and stuff. That's code, man. You see that? That's code. Don't just do nada. Don't do that. Because code is embedded in HTML. HTML is the coding for basically every site. So you're putting the code in for your Google searches right there for anybody to see, basically. And that's how it works. And so you want to open it on in a new link, open link in new tab sort of thing. And if that doesn't work, refresh the page, try to go there in a different browser, then get the actual link. Don't ever just copy it. You know what I'm saying? Straight from your Google search history and stuff like that. Again, you can get hit with that. So I'm just letting you know, if you see a super long link like that where it looks like that, sometimes the links are long, but again, those percentages and stuff, you really, yeah, like this one. This is this one has all kinds of crap in it, and I'm not gonna share it. Yeah. So like it'll have like words that you searched, that it'll tell you. There's just stuff in there. I'm looking right at one right now. So like, that's why actually too, if you notice, I don't know if yours does this, mine does this. This is typically what this browser does. I don't know if all browsers do, but it's a really good security feature. And it's so that way when you're streaming and stuff, people can't see the URL. It hides it. It just says google.com and then has the slash and just says search. You have to actually click it to see the whole thing. That is, like, good job there. Like, that's what you want. You don't want that just there like that. Really? Really? All right. We're gonna pin your. Hold on. I didn't mean to pin that one. We're gonna pin this. We're gonna pin it. Your message is getting pinned. All right. So let's talk about this. This is interesting. So let's talk about this message that I'm looking at right here. Let's talk about this. So you're saying hi, and it says said hi too. So again, that's like some app, right? That's not you. That's like voice to text or something like that. Then it says, then after that it says, hello, I am Mana from Kenya, and I really love cybersecurity, but have never had a chance to pursue it due to personal challenges. I lost all of my devices. I hope you would help with anything. It. It would change my life. Thank you. I love the way you are explaining. So, this is like kind of an obvious scam. And so like that's why I pinned the comment there. Um this is the sort of thing where like this is like a this is similar to a phishing scam. It's similar, but like basically the whole concept is show up looking like something's going on, like you need help, and like basically like just play like be a victim, that sort of thing. Um, I think it's interesting that let's just go to the page here. Right, and then again, the site has a profile picture with somebody in like looks like a Playboy bunny costume, kind of kneeling down. Um, they have 3 shorts, all uploaded the same day, and that's it. And the country of origin is completely hidden. So, like, I'm just pointing out that like this is the sort of thing where right then and there, as soon as I'm explaining this, we get an obvious sort of scam, like right here, right now. And this is the stuff that's always, like, kind of just always been going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just sitting here talking about it, and then just bam. This is where you need to call that out, and you need to see it, and you need to be like, oh yeah, there it is. So I think it's funny how I didn't mention anything about cybersecurity. I don't think we used that term, did we? Did at any point I say cybersecurity, any point in the stream until reading it on that message? I don't think I did. So I think it's interesting they would message and know that term and call it that, cybersecurity. I think it's also really, really, really obvious that the channel is a scam. And I think it's very obvious that they came in here conveniently as we're talking about this. They have a period in their channel name. Like just like all these weird things that don't make any sense about anything. So this is baiting. This is sort of phishing. It's more baiting. So again, that's what you guys have to realize about that sort of thing. Is they're gonna come and they're gonna seem like real people. They're gonna seem like they're gonna get to you, and it's just gonna be a fake. It's just gonna be a scam. Um, again, I didn't even use that term, and there's plenty of stuff on YouTube for cybersecurity, so I think it's really interesting that they came on here and offered that term, and that wasn't even something, like, again, It's modern scams with real. And again, intelligent conversation. In the title, we have modern scams. So again, we didn't even mention the word cybersecurity, yet this person offered that information, and then comes in as we're talking about this sort of thing, recognizing scams and stuff like that. So they're everywhere. They're in. I mean, they're all over. They're in South America. They're in Central America. They're everywhere. They're not just. But they are. A lot of them are in that one part of the world. But yeah, like any other country where there's not stable regulative government, yes, because those people have to steal to survive. So they just steal to survive because their government can't recognize how much they're stealing from the people. So yeah, that's kind of the point you need to arrive at with that particular thing. Let me see here. So, I'm gonna take a short break. I'm gonna take a very short break, and when I come back, there's gonna be something we're gonna talk about. But I'm gonna take a short break. I need to take a short break. There's gonna be something we're gonna talk about though. Should I tell you? I'll give you a little preview. Okay, it's gonna sound political. It'll sound political on the surface. It won't be political. It will not be. I will try very hard not to pick a side. I'm just gonna give you the information, but it's gonna be a little bit political because of who it has to deal with. But there's a reason, and we have to talk about it. Nobody else is. They're all basically talking about the things that they matter, but it's more what the distraction is from what's really going on. So we're going to talk about it when we come back. Thanks for watching, guys. Thank you so much. So, One thing I'm gonna say is the person that's doing this knows that I'm about to comment on it too, because they're always in the stream. And they were in here the very second that I left too. So let me just put this out there. That... Okay, that's good. That, if you're trying to sit here and harass somebody regularly for a reaction, again, this is the stuff that I've been talking about, where somebody's regularly hacking my phone for a reaction. Now, I need a drink. I have a very serious personal situation in my life going on right now. And earlier I just missed a phone call again because this person's doing this and has been doing this. And I can't get a job because, again, I'm missing all these phone calls because this person's doing this. Ever since I've been getting calls, I always miss the call. And then I call back and try to, but some of these places you call them back and the phone rings out endlessly. So here, I'm removing this person. Who are you? Why asked me what I was doing? That seems so weird. Again, you guys have to realize while all this is going on, this is why my reactions are what they are. Because all the while this is going on, like really actually happening, I don't get phone calls, I don't get things that I'm supposed to get. Because again, like I said, even though there's a constant connection, my data is constantly connected, they sit here and disconnect it at various times for that purpose. So this is incredibly illegal to constantly do, and the only people that could do this in the United States are the FBI that would have jurisdiction to do that, just to let you know, like regularly. So this is why I've stated some of the things I've stated where, you know, like there's certain times where I'm like, they don't have probable cause and stuff. I just rationalize nobody can do this in the United States because of what we have in place to restrict this type of thing. So I rationalize simply the FBI, for some reason, is harassing my family, but I don't know why. And so, like, I've just come on here to, and like, you come in here right after that. So, like, I've made streams like this where I've talked about how the FBI has a long history of making social groups dislike each other and their racist agenda. And if you know anything about my family, I don't need to say anything more than that. I'm not going to say anything more than that because it really reveals some information. But the FBI does absolutely try to cause racial tension. They make people racist. So there's evidence of that. That's not conspiracy. I actually didn't know that. I got that information because I found out recently through researching it. So pretty daily, not even pretty daily, daily, I have evidence that people are breaking my apps breaking like again the streaming software. Excuse me. The streaming software, as you guys know, they're making the CPU on this spike, the CPU on my phone spike. They're doing all these things, all the while conveniently anytime I talk about certain political things, the bit rate shifts around and stuff like that. Now, I know who is and has been harassing me from afar, but to do it here on U.S. soil, So again, we know who is harassing citizens, and we know, like, again, when somebody comes in chat, and then you actually ask the question, so you hate Trump? Do you have any idea how obvious this, like, this is what I was actually going to get to, but let's get to it now. Let's get to it now. You're retracting your messages. They're retracting their messages. This is how stupid the Trump administration actually is, guys. This is my point. They're actually harassing me. And am Japanese. Look, they're trying to look Japanese too. Like, okay. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. That doesn't mean that you're not. Like, what? Like, this is so obvious, and this is exactly how that administration acts. Like, the point is, how many times have we seen? I know I keep hitting that stinking button. How many times have we seen me get harassed and attacked all around me talking about this administration? How many times has my stream abruptly ended around this administration? How many times have we had evidence that they're running espionage defense tactics against families? Now, they have no probable cause for any of this. Nothing. So they've been trying so hard to create all these things to trigger me to, like that. They thought for sure I was going to go to some police station by now and, like, you know, all the, you know, like all the stuff I've said, stuff. That was the whole point. Was the more I said it, the more it would escalate, right? That has FBI written all over it, man. Now, the fact that this person is in here trying to convince me it's some sort of left agenda tells me exactly, it further confirms the FBI theory. You have to still be able to, as an intelligent person, you have to be able to fight that and understand with the original, you can't be manipulated by that. This person coming in here and being this convenient about the questioning too, call that out, just like the one before it. And now we're pushing, there we go, and now we see a political agenda about illegals, which has nothing to do with what I'm saying. Like, maybe earlier when we were talking about that, but so again, just a distraction, propaganda, again, to try to focus the attention elsewhere. This is incredible, actually. This is very eye-opening. And I had started to talk about, if you remember on the last intelligence briefing, I had started to talk about how the deputy director of the FBI has a long history of scams, of being a scammer, of literally, he made his career scamming. That's how he did it. Look him up. He didn't legitimately get anywhere. It's all scams. Lied. Seriously, just look it up. You can just research the stuff that he did. Like, it's super obvious. We talked about it a little bit, but basically, even when I went and like took a break just now, um, like basically, my mobile connection, even though I have it off and I have it off in settings, is constantly connected. That's crazy. Who could do that? Who could tell the cell phone company to permanently connect? Who could do that? I'll wait. By the way, that said 6, not 3. It jumped up to 6 when I said that, and then I tried to refresh it so you guys could see. Like, the FBI does this. They have bots, they have fake crap. They influence you too. They've been doing it a long time. Pretty sure that they're some of the ones with these scam accounts too. With the weird pictures of the kids and stuff like that. It's FBI. Yep. The FBI sits on all these disgusting pictures and stuff like that. They keep them and then use them. I think that's so weird. And the point is, the FBI has a long history of doing things illegal that they shouldn't do. They wouldn't stop there. They would hold on to that stuff and use it. That's what they do with evidence. How many times do they sell a bunch of drugs back to the enemy just to get some information? We know that. I mean, how many times does that happen? You probably can't even count. Probably couldn't even count. And this is the world we're living in, where all that was happening, and then we get less restriction, less governing, less conservative thinking. And then you wonder why this is true. Where people can't deduce what a scam is. Because the FBI that's supposed to be protecting you is creating half of them. For the purposes of what? I truly believe that Trump possibly is in office and in the position he is because he has illegal connections to the FBI. And is going to try to maintain that power with illegal connections to the FBI. We see him taking over using the Act of 1973 in the DC area. And that is something that, again, you have to have an actual emergency. So crime was on its way down. There was proof of that. We sat here and we talked about it. So let me ask you a question. If all these guys show up and there's no crime, what are they going to do? If they were wrong, what do you think they're actually going to do? You think they're going to accept that? Or do you think they're going to lie like they did on January 6th when they decided to storm the Capitol when they were wrong? When they knew they were wrong? There was no election fraud until Trump. Until he's trying to do it now. Until he's trying to do it this next election. Because even we agreed, we sat here and watched that, we agreed, yeah, unfortunately he won. Because nobody voted. And that's the truth. But this time around, he can't even run. It's illegal. So why would he ever be in office? It would literally be illegal for him to be in office a third. If anything, what you're going to get out of that, and this is I know getting a little bit beyond the scope of a little bit of the topic, but it's sort of not, because it is a modern scam. It's the biggest scam happening in history, and it's with the president's position, and it's probably going to happen where he has already gotten all the Republicans in Congress to give him, the ability to just not have to ask them for anything. He can just get all of their implicit yes. So what he's going to do is he is going to get somebody to run for the Republican Party, get them to win, like he did, this past election, buying into it, redistricting and stuff, where we see in Texas they flee to try to prevent that happen. The Democrats are heroes, defying the law to save you from essentially a coup d'etat to overthrow the government, to overthrow democracy, to make sure your votes don't count, to make sure you can't actually vote for a president, and whoever wins, it doesn't matter, it's just going to be Trump, because what they're going to do is they're going to vote the Republican, who then is going to reinstate Trump when they come into office. They're just going to reinstate Trump. That's what they're going to do. And that would be the biggest scam probably in history, because again, that's everybody knows about it. It's just plain sight, plain as day. It's almost like, if it happens, people might actually go along with it. And that's when you shouldn't. That's when you can't. Because that's a scam. It is not how we do things. Even Obama was not president more than twice, and conceded, said he shouldn't be president more than twice. He said that many times. Even Biden stepped down after one time. That's responsible. Nobody looks at it like that. Unfortunately, that's the intelligent way to look at it. And nobody does. That's not me picking a political side there. That's me recognizing that they did the correct thing, or had the correct, because even I thought it would have been weird with everybody calling for, just how much was calling for it if he did run again, and so he accepted that. And I think, again, the point is that that's not, even he was saying that he has to remove his own bias. That was what he did. So when the Democrat is doing that in office, he has the power. He could run again. And he chooses to step down with the notion of democracy in mind, trying to give you the example, and you don't look at it like that. You look at it like he's somehow the bad guy again. I don't understand where anybody's brain is, where the logic is. Again, the logic tells me, yeah, that's what you do. That's what everybody's calling for. You don't necessarily might not like it, but it doesn't serve a purpose to keep doing the same thing when that's not what they're asking for. And yeah. So he did. And, that side's still lost. And often, again, I've said this before, I can't wait to read her book, because I think there's going to be some interesting stuff in there, because I think it was the shortest campaign, and I think that has a lot to do with it, just not time to prepare. The times where we've taken a look at what politicians were able to do with changing minds. It's when they physically showed up and they were able to even just one-on-one actually, well, not even one-on-one like with other people, but one-on-one in front of people, talk to them and be personable and actually, like that's the whole point, is that we know that Trump is actually really bad at that. He actually kind of ticks people off and doesn't do things like that. So that's where you have to rationalize. He's not really a guy that, you meet him and that's what happens. And that's what these other people, the Democrats, that was what was happening was, and that's not me picking a side. That's just me following what I've seen, where anytime they show up, they just show like that they're just trying to help out and actually genuinely ask what they need, what do you need from me and stuff like that, and then they just have fun with it, and that was how Joe Biden won him over. That was how Obama won him over, because the whole point was that they actually showed up to those places and campaigned and spent time with those people, and people were like, what was it? Was it Biden? Who was it that said, like, the one guy said Trump called him like this bad name, and he's like, you're not the whatever that Trump says you are, or something, and it was like hilarious, and the whole point was that I think it was Biden. He went there to spend time with him. By the time he was done, that was what the guy had to say, and so maybe he did change his mind, because the whole point is it's not what you think. It really is propaganda. It really are just being lied to. And it really is that basic, that simple. Modern scams look real. Everything is the opposite. Question everything, but then accept if it is the truth or if it's not. And accept the simple, like people want to give dismissive simple things that aren't true, but then don't accept the simple negative thing. Unfortunately, sometimes it is. It is that simple. It's as basic as that. So, for example, why does Pakistan have a bunch of phones? Do you know? Why does Pakistan have a whole lot of phones? Well, because scammers like to go to events and like concerts, things like that, and they run a scam. Like, they pretend to be paparazzi, they pretend to be this, they distract you, and then they steal your phone. There are people that they go to concerts or they go to events and stuff, they get pickpocketed, they leave it. It just takes a second. And this is one way, one of many. You send your phone through your cell phone company back to the store. Maybe the person working at the store is a money mule, or the package guy is, so he reroutes it somewhere else, or just somewhere down the line somebody else, where that touches some hands and they reroute it to their own thing, and now they have your phone instead of the cell phone company. I'm just, again, that's literally just theorizing, and the first one that I said is something that I know happens. The second one is a theory, but yeah, I'm sure it happens. And so, when I can theorize, and it's like, yeah, you can't even. That's probably a 80% chance. It's probably not even a low chance. It's probably an 80% sort of thing. Like, that's a high, maybe 70, more realistic, but I think it is, and so when you rationalize something like that, it's like, man, I wonder how many other things I didn't think of that are lower chances that are probably just happening. And so, they got phones. They get things. And, maybe they didn't clean your data off of it properly or whatever. I mean, if they pickpocket you, it's all on there, So, it's the sort of thing where this is how it's happening, and then we look it up and we see that there's a history of those scams happening there, then yeah, like that's, you know, we can arrive at that conclusion. So what is it? Yeah. So here's a Reddit post up specifically about the Pakistan phone scam. So it says, fresh scam for you guys, beware. This is a year ago this was posted. Beware next time visiting shops for used Android smartphones, especially kid phones. Some people are saying it's kind of an old scam, yada yada yada. Yeah, for sure, but it can still happen. I mean, like, this was only a year ago, so like they're still doing it. People think it's old. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if it's still, they're still doing it, they're still doing it. So sometimes too what happens is, here, I'm gonna look at this. Sometimes too what happens is, when you have when you have all these different scammers getting people's like data and stuff like that, and like scamming them, like, you know, like these people that are like bad actors that pretend to be different people and stuff like that, get them on the phone, yada yada yada. What they can do is they can then get those people to buy them a legitimate cell phone and send it to them. And so, like, there's times where like these people get caught and stuff like that, and then like it ends, but sometimes it's unknown how much damage was done before that. And so, like, I often wonder how many times somebody bought a legitimate cell phone for somebody and all that data was linked to it, and now it's just basically an open connection to that wireless provider, where they can breach that wireless provider with that device. And I often wonder how often that's happening. So I think that's a possibility, because again, like, they send them like freaking 10, 20 grand sometimes. Just, they try to send it through the mail, you know? And so, like, obviously they can send a phone, you know, like that's the point. Like they're getting these money mules that I speak of. These are just people that are middlemen that are literally collecting these packages. They have like a flat somewhere, basically, like a little apartment that they rent, and it's probably almost always vacant, but they just get the packages routed there, and they just pick them up. And you know, this is why, you know, oftentimes you always want to question like the mail scams and stuff like that. So yeah, basically, let me just look at this really quick. I wanted to look at something, and then we'll talk about the whole FBI thing. Yeah. There it is. So basically, everything I just explained. Take everything I just said, all the scams, all the concepts I just said. Now apply what I also said to the common knowledge that people don't really understand this stuff. They can't reverse engineer it very well. They don't understand why it's a scam, the risk it has. Now imagine you invested into cryptocurrency, like just a bunch of money, just like millions, maybe we'll say just millions, right? And then you go into government. You know, explaining like the whole, like it's not really backed by anything, and like some of them are still pretty good. It's still cryptocurrency, and it's still the sort of thing where it's up and down and up and down, and your data and stuff like that, and how connected it is. And then you take a job in government. So, Donald Trump Jr. is invested in cryptocurrency. And, it's quite substantial. It's quite substantial. I think he messed up. I'll be honest. And I think isn't it like, hold on, I think it's a social media investment too. Oh, jeez. And then the site it brings up a million pop-ups that block the article. Of course. Well, there you go. There you have it. I think it says social media firm building crypto hoard. That's scary. That's like your data backing money. But it's not money. It's fake money. And now it's backed by your data, so it would be backed by the implication that the more data you give them about yourself, your personal, the more it's worth. What? What? So meanwhile, he backs this. Oh god. So that's why, again, they don't understand how this works. And like they're just doing foolish things. And I'm not trying to pick a side. I'm really not. Like, I feel for him. I do. I actually feel bad for him. That's the kind of person I am. I hate that everybody hates on this guy and stuff like that. The guy is not very smart. And it really bothers me because, like, I wish somebody would actually just help him. I don't even know anything about him except that he just does all these stupid things and makes bad investments, and then he has a drinking problem, apparently. Sounds like he needs a friend. Sounds like his dad is not his dad. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I get that he's older now and stuff, but rationalize that, man. Anyway, this exposes that, like, that whole thing, like, with that family and stuff like that being involved in the government, stuff like that, all of them being linked. It's not good. Like, that's why, like, it's really a concern that it's, like, a family thing and stuff like that, and again, it is his real name. So yes, there are breaches and stuff like that, and they're wondering why. Well, it's because that guy uses his real name. His entire family is invested in all these weird things. That their money's flying everywhere. They're investing in these things. He just did that that says back in July was that article. I don't know when it actually happened. It's the sort of thing where it puts them all at risk. It puts the whole thing at risk because you get what I'm saying? Everything we just said. You know, all the stuff from before where it's this, where let me look into this. Oh my god. It's worse than I thought. It it's worse than I thought. Hold on, I'm reading. Okay, so here's the big takeaway. Crypto treasury. Thumbs up is what it's called. Wow. Thumbs Up has committed to holding a substantial portion of its liquid assets in a diversified portfolio of cryptocurrencies. This includes Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, Dogecoin, Litecoin, and US dollar coin. Combining them all, and they're all gonna crash. Every last one. That's just gonna happen, guys. I don't understand how you could make that much mistake. That much of a mistake. How is that not calculated? I don't know. I think he's making money off everybody on purpose. I think he's crashing it on purpose. I think it's a scheme. I think that's a scheme. Holy Thumbs Up's move into crypto aligns with a broader trend of companies embracing digital assets as a treasury strategy. However, it's worth noting that Thumbs Up has experienced losses and low revenue, and the stock has been volatile following its cryptocurrency pivot. Yes. Like, oh. I'm sorry, that is... What? Hold on. Yes, it's a Ponzi scheme. I wanted to look it up. I was gonna say that, but it's a freaking Ponzi scheme, is what it is. That is like one of the biggest Ponzi schemes I've ever seen. Wow! 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 Oh wow! Oh wow! Did I just figure this out? Jeez. So it would seem that Donald Trump Jr. is involved in a Ponzi scheme. And here I was standing here feeling bad. Whew. I don't know, man. That seems pretty intentional. Do you remember when they had an art thing where they had all this art people donated, except it was, instead of going to charity like it was supposed to, like all of the proceeds were just in a bank account in Donald Trump Jr.'s name. Do you remember that? I do. Wow. 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 Don't invest in that. Do not thumbs up, do not just do not. Here, let me give you this is the thing I just read. That's collaborated. That's Gemini put that together. So let me this is insane. Oh man. So the ad, the psychological impact, it's oh boy. Yeah, like, and it's all based on social media. So the symbol for the ad is like the Facebook looking thumbs up. The symbol for the ad is like the Facebook thumbs up. That's textbook brainwashing. That's what I was talking about with the salesman that is not on your side. He's using something that he knows people want. Likes on Facebook. It's a brainwashing thing. People have unfortunately grown up in a world where their anxiety is relieved by seeing that people have liked a post. Because then it means they're not being hated. And so because people desire this so much, this guy has put together this thing that seems on the surface like a real thing. He's putting all this Doge and yada yada. He's trying to make it work with thumbs up. And that's the tell right there that he needs to do that. Because it's not again, they're not, this is not a legitimate, like, this is the worst Ponzi scheme I've seen in a while, probably. And, whew, they're using NASDAQ too. They're putting NASDAQ's little thing on here. and trying to like play like some sort of mind trick on you into thinking it has something to do with like stock and stuff like that. You get what I'm saying? Like it says it right on the ad. Oh my god. I'll bet you that's all the funds from that fake art thing, like I said. He has to do something with it, right? I'll bet that's what it is. He has to liquidate it. Because if he doesn't, people find out. So what does he do? He creates this fucking thing. And it just puts randomly $50 million into it that came from where? Unbelievable. I'm sorry, but this is just funny to me because we're sitting here talking about modern scams, and right here I literally just uncover the fact that Donald Trump Jr. is possibly in the middle of one of the biggest Ponzi schemes in history. This is incredible. And they're fooling people. This looks it on the surface it looks so legitimate. It looks so legitimate. This is oh no. This is gonna be really bad. This could bankrupt so many people. Like overnight. That's what it's gonna do. This is part of that. This is part of the plan, I think. Oh my god. I don't know, man. Like, you remember how I said that, like, there's a definitive play here to make people in this country either rich or get out? You know, sort of like totalitarianism in North Korea. Exactly like that. Man... Because, you know, in North Korea, they're so poor that they can't even eat, and they live in shacks. Not in the part you visit. You can't visit the part that it's like that. You know that, right? And then that's where they're, like, raiding and stuff because they're trying to watch, like, movies, like Marvel movies or something like that. And then they raid the house and literally unalive them or something just because they're watching a movie from Hollywood. It's ridiculous. And their life's already hard enough, but then they're not allowed to do that. That's crazy. And this is what's like happening. Like, this is the whole point, guys, is to try to show you that you can figure this out yourself. You don't need propaganda to lie to you. You don't need to sit here and try to figure it out with the media. You can figure it out. And that's what I'm trying to help you do. I'm trying to show you the map. I'm trying to show you, like, again, all those countries right conveniently where India is, the Pakistan phone situation, all that stuff is conveniently right there. Very convenient for them. Because, again, all those unrestricted governments just keep going. Not giving a crap that they're lying to people. And, again, half the world is right there in India and China. Half the world. You can use that. There's just too much information. So anyway, yeah, this is again pretty crazy how legitimate this seems. But again, on the surface, we even just used Google and Gemini to define that. No, flat out, I am right about cryptocurrency as a whole. On the surface, not necessarily a scam by definition. But again, money, real money and stuff, anything we know is backed by something. So since cryptocurrency, aside from sometimes Bitcoin, like again, something that's backed by maybe a credit card company or something, that's a little bit different, but very one-off things. And even that, at this point, like, it's all just, it's not, it's not actually backed by anything. So again, not cryptocurrency, the definition, but what's it backed by? So if it is, and this is being trying to sold to you as being something that's like, oh, it's backed by this or something like that, but no, no, it's already crashed. It's already a scam. So throwing $50 million in there, it, like, I'm sure it seems on the surface like that's enough. I'm sure it probably seems that way, right? That's not how it works. That's not, you can't just throw $50 million at an investment company, and that's not how things work. It's not how it works. We're talking about liquid assets here. It's not how it works, man. So this is like, again, one of the biggest Ponzi schemes I've seen, and that thumbs up, the thing you all want being sold to you like that, like, it's really eye-opening to me. The thing showing that too is like a little ad that if you clicked on it, it would be malicious too, right on the page. Fun stuff. Fun stuff. Like, it's one of those ads for its own, Ay, ay, ay. So here we go. Let's define this for you. Let's define this. We'll go to investor.gov. .gov. We'll go to investor.gov and we'll use their definition, because I think that's actually a good resource. A Ponzi scheme is an investment fraud that pays existing investors with funds collected from new investors. Ponzi scheme organizers often promote to invest your money and generate high returns with little or no risk. But in many Ponzi schemes, the fraudsters do not invest the money. Instead, they use it to pay those who invested earlier and may keep some for themselves. So, the companies like Doge, yada, 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 all those things, they invested in that. Those people are ticked because it's not real money. Maybe they're fraudsters and stuff like that. They owe them. They're gonna leak it. They have to, so they do this, right? I don't know. Just throwing, just spitballing. Why do people scam? There's a few different psychological reasons. We can answer this question. Unfortunately, I have to go to the bathroom. So let me do that, and then I'll answer your question. There's a couple of psychological reasons why somebody might scam. I'm not gonna like give them excuses, but if you're legitimately asking, I'll tell you then. But I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. Get a little snack here. Okay, so let's talk about psychological reasons why somebody might scam. Again, we're not giving any excuses, but let's since we have the question here, let's talk about it. Again, like I said earlier, if psychologically, if somebody has like a government or news media that is just generally irresponsible where they live, where they come from and stuff, as they grow up and things like that, they're led to believe things that aren't true. They sort of grow up thinking differently than you and I, and they feel like what they're doing, they rationalize as like not necessarily harming anyone. Like they're led to believe that like like it's not really that much money for this person or something like that. But it's just not true, obviously. Like obviously like there's plenty of victims, there's plenty of people that this actually does affect and stuff like that. So the point is that they just don't see it that way and rationalize that. Now, there's also maybe unfortunately the other side of things where somebody enjoys scamming people, and a lot of times those are usually the talented ones, right? Because the whole point is they wanted to do this and researched it and looked into it and stuff like that, and so unfortunately they're not gonna get caught as easily because truthfully they researched it and they're probably hackers and they're probably experienced, and so unfortunately there's two psychological reasons, obviously, and both usually exist because of, again, that one reason where media lies to them. They're led to believe things that aren't true. So the person that wants to do this actually might want to do it, believe it or not, because they themselves truly believe they're doing it to people that are stealing money from them. They think about it like maybe Americans or the type of thinking that we have here is somehow stealing from them. They're actually taught this and led to believe this. That's it. And they can't think about it any longer than that, and they're just consumed by this. And they're consumed by it, and it's they just start down a path. That's it. So, like, as for like the psychological reasons, like, I truthfully believe that's pretty much the reason. For the most part, both of those reasons. But I'm sure there's like variations of that and stuff like that. Where you could see that happening, just generally speaking, in a much more broader sense too. Not good, yep, for sure. Um, So Ponzi schemes, red flags. I like this definition. I'm gonna give you guys this link. This is a good link for information. I love this. Investor.gov. Excuse me. Um, this is a really good link. Exactly. I love this. High returns with little or no risk. That's what we're seeing here. Every investment carries some sort of degree of risk, and investments yielding higher returns typically involve more risk. Be highly suspicious of any guaranteed investment opportunity. Overly consistent returns. Investments tend to go up and down over time. Be skeptical about an investment that regularly generates positive returns regardless of overall market conditions. What we saw with literally cryptocurrency right away, where everybody's just like, oh, it's so great. Be wary of that. Like that's not how it works. Unregistered investments. Ponzi schemes typically involve investments that are not registered with the SEC or with state regulators. Registration is important because it provides investors with access to information about the company's management, policy, products, services, and finances. There. Right there. That. Registration is important because it provides investors with access to information about the company's management, products, services, and finances. That. Right there. That too. So all this, there's like 3 red flags here. It's listing that fit with what we're just seeing with what we're talking about here. Unlicensed seller. Federal and state security laws require investment professionals and firms to be licensed or registered. Most Ponzi schemes involve unlicensed individuals and unregistered firms. Scratch my. It's not sounding good. Secretive, complex strategies. Yeah, like what's. Like, we're not talking about opinions of registered things. We're talking about actually registering it and doing it properly. Secretive, complex strategies. Avoid investments if you don't understand them or can't get complete information about them. Good tip. Issues with paperwork. Account statement errors may be a sign. Account statement errors may be a sign that funds are not being invested as promised. Yes. Definitely be wary of that. Difficulty receiving payments. Be suspicious if you don't receive a payment or have difficulty cashing out. Ponzi scheme promoters sometimes try to prevent participants from cashing out by offering even higher returns for staying put. That one. You're going to see that. I can almost guarantee you they're going to try to do that. Because they'll almost have to keep that sort of thing afloat because it's not legitimate. Be wary of that. Let's read that again. Difficulty receiving payments. Be suspicious if you don't receive a payment or have difficulty cashing out. Ponzi scheme promoters sometimes try to prevent participants from cashing out by offering an even higher returns for staying put. Okay. So if you steadfast in cashing out and they're not letting you cash out, be always, again, that is, all these are red flags. And that's really good information. Well, they got info here on pyramid schemes. I like that. I like that. Maybe a different day. That's good stuff. It's a good site. I like it. Investor.gov. It's good stuff, man. Thank you. So, anyway, some pretty crazy stuff that we're talking about. We're uncovering here, and I do think that you need to be wary of that particular company that they're trying to put together. I think it's interesting too. I mean, how we talked about how the companies were probably after them because the whole point is that they owed them because they invested in this. What if that's why he's barricading the DC police, like barricading himself in? You know what I mean? Like, what if that's the, you know what I'm saying? What if this? Remember how I said people were after Trump before? he owed Deutsche Bank all this money. He owed all these. Remember, and like he ran for president initially the first time as a scam. Remember, I was saying that, and all these people owed him. What if it's that simple? What if like all this is because he's running from people and like they're trying to get him, and he's actually using us and the president position. You know what I'm saying? Interesting. You know, my brain just stumbled across another reason somebody would scam thinking about this. They would harm others to protect themselves. Like if something was happening to them. Yeah. I think that's what's happening. I think he's harming the entire country because he's fleeing from people that are. But then he accepts things from Qatar like an idiot. Like he accepted a plane from Qatar. Again, there's intelligent reasons we don't take things from other countries like that. Because you don't know what's bugged on there. It's a Trojan horse, man. Do you guys know what... Alright, when I say that, do you understand what that means? Hold on, let me just... I'll find like a resource for you. Okay, here. There you go. There is Britannica.com. That's an encyclopedia, by the way. That's Encyclopedia Britannica. That's where that comes from. Trojan horse. Again, this is the common thing of like, it's a decoy. You know, like somebody's hiding inside, like that sort of concept. Z-bot is one virus? What do you mean? Z-bot. Oh no. No, not that. Not that. The original concept of a Trojan horse. Not See? See? So like you're thinking too smart. You're thinking too smart. I see what you're saying there. Yeah, you're talking about the malware, Z-bot. No. Yeah. I got you. Yeah, no, I was talking about a physical Trojan horse. Like basically the plane that Trump accepted is a Trojan horse. That's the concept. Like that's always been the concept. Like the planes that they're trying to crash and stuff. The idea is there's something wrong with it. It's a Trojan horse. In modern day, it's probably a bomb, you know, or a surveillance device. Back then, yeah, there was guys hiding inside. Go watch Monty Python and the Holy Grail. There's a whole funny scene with that. Like, well, and then they push it up to the door and he's like, okay, well, what's the rest of the plan? Okay, now you and everybody else jump out of the horse. But then he's like, but like the point is they're sitting there, they didn't get in the horse. Wait, was that Monty Python? Yeah, that was Monty Python, wasn't it? That was Holy Grail. So anyway, that's the point. Like, Obviously, you can't accept something knowing the Trojan horse concept. No, just history, basic history. What basic history would tell you with that. Go to that Britannica link that I sent you. With that knowledge, knowing what they would do with that today. Because the whole point is people are just going to come up with this. They don't even have to be taught that. The point is that this is evolutionary. This is like a concept that is now, built into you. And so, like, they're just going to naturally do this. They don't have to be even taught it. So, like, you have to understand that it's going to be something that, like, they might not have even heard the term Trojan horse. They just, had this happen to them. Like, somebody played a prank on them, and they figured out the concept of a Trojan horse. Like, it's literally, on a basic level, it's a prank. Somebody convinces you to go somewhere or do something. A bunch of people waiting for you to jump out. Ha ha, surprise, or something like that. I mean, same sort of concept. So, hence why things were called what they were called in the cybersecurity realm too. But yeah, it's interesting you bring up the Z-bot thing. But yeah, because yeah, that's a Trojan, exactly. So that's why these things are called these things. Is flat out, like, the most basic level, that's us for reverse engineering right here, right in front of you. Exactly what we see. An example of that basic Trojan horse concept, not even cybersecurity, but on a basic level, the concept of a Trojan horse way back, when they used to actually use Trojan horses. Seeing that now, seeing what this is, essentially. Like the plane that they gave to the president is very obviously a Trojan horse. Like, there's something wrong with that plane. They're not giving you a plane, dude. They are not. No matter how much they're saluting you over, trust me, you are much better trusting the Democrats and me than Al-Qaeda. And that's what you have to worry about, is that he doesn't understand that. He really thinks that, like, he can't trust us. And, like, he may have even been convinced of this because of the assassination attempt. That may have been just to convince him, and it's working all as planned. Trojan horse is a piece of malware virus that an attacker will attempt to install on a device for a malicious purpose. Yep. That's a common term. But again, if you look at that link, the Encyclopedia Britannica link I gave you, that is not what a Trojan horse used to be. The original concept of a Trojan horse, its most basic definition, the reason why we call it that is because, again, it was a giant wooden freaking horse that was so big it was like the size of a house. They have all these guys pushing it up, and the concept is it was a gift to the king. We're here to make peace. Oh, wow, you did all this for us? Oh, wow. All right, come on in. Come on in. And then they push it in. Wow, go get the king. Bring him down. He's got to see this. And then they open it up, and all these guys jump out with swords, and they start, surprise, idiots. That's why it's called a Trojan horse. Because, again, that's what it does. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up, because, that is exactly why we call it that. So, yeah. Recognize when you see that in real life and break it down. I break it down, I'm gonna break it down, I'm gonna break it. Yep, 132 Z-bot. Yep. And steals your personal and financial information. That one specifically. Yep. Yep, you're right. It's like a banking one. Here's one. This is on Bitdefender. Here you go. I'll give you this link. This is a Zbot link that Jacqueline the Gamer was referring to. So there's some info on that. Wow, it injects code into the SVC host. That's not good. Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, I mean, obviously the win logon's not good, but, like, SVC host, man, that's pretty, malicious. So, yeah, there's the info on what Jacqueline the Gamer was talking about there. So, thanks for mentioning that. That was pretty serious. Typically people call it Zeus Trojan, I think. I think it's more commonly known as Zeus Trojan. Here. This is the info. This is better. This is New Jersey.gov website, actually. There was a plane crash after India gave Trump the plane. Full of people, crashed a passenger plane, lots dead. Really? Yeah, so I had to look that up to be 100%. I wanted to make sure I knew what I was talking about. I didn't think that India gave them the plane. Are you talking about there was an India... Because India didn't give... It wasn't India that gave Trump a plane, it was Qatar. That's why I wanted to look up to be sure. So like I see what you're saying, there might be a correlation there, but again, Qatar gave, and Qatar, what you have to realize about Qatar is that's like Al-Qaeda. That's like where they are. Because they're right, like Saudi Arabia is right there. And it's not even that big. But it is nice. Depending on where you go, if you go to Qatar, Trump would have been like, "This is beautiful." He would have loved it there. Guarantee it. They probably treated him like a king. And then gave him a plane. Seriously. No, it looks like Milan. It does. It looks like Milan. You ever seen like pictures of Milan in like Italy and stuff? It's that gorgeous. But again, it doesn't mean that their government, like, that's the riches. Like, it's so small, and then like again, like they have all this like stuff in this one. Like again, it's Al Qaeda, man. They have the billions they stole. You know, like it's. They're the scammers. Access denied looking at Bitdefender link. I think you're hacked. if you're seeing an access denied for looking at something that's trying to inform you about stuff, I think that you may want to look in at your system. But yeah, anyway, I don't feel the need to make this too much longer. I think that we have had some very good points here. What is this? I wanted to mention something else, didn't I? Did I mention this? Yes, I did. No, I did. I mentioned this, yes. Let me just make sure that I got to everything that I wanted to get to. No, actually I didn't. So let me talk about this. This is a little bit concerning. Now, again, this is from the point of view of this particular article and journalist that's saying this. But basically they're saying that it took Google sort of X amount of time to remove an app from the Play Store that stole over 5 million in crypto. And it took them like apparently 3 months to remove it. So apparently this person in Florida lost $5 million to a crypto scam on the Google Play Store. And this was only a year ago. That was only a year ago. I mean, yeah, I'm looking right at it. It's fine. So I think you're having issues. I think it's your stuff. Try a different browser. What browser do you use? So basically somebody is suing because again they lost 5 million to a cryptocurrency scam. They're suing Google and the state of California apparently. Oh, I'm sorry, in the state of California, suing Google in the state. I'm sorry. Yeah, so apparently, apparently 12, almost 13,000 other people installed this on their devices. So that many different people had installed this scam. So the app is called YoBit Pro. That apparently was the scam, was the app that did it. Is it your antivirus? What antivirus do you have? What browser do you use, and what antivirus do you have? Yeah, that's crazy. That is a lot. 5 million. So again, I'd help you real quick, but like I don't know what browser you're using or what. It sounds like malware, that app from Google Play. Yeah, it is. That's what they're saying, obviously. You lose 5 billion. Yeah, that's a scam. Oh God. Well, it's all one big scheme by the Trump administration. It's not even Don Jr. It's Trump. You use Bitdefender? What tell me what browser you're using that you can't open it. So this is big. President President Trump's President Trump's administration has recently implemented new tariffs that are impacting various sectors, including the cryptocurrency market. There it is. When he's implementing, guys, if he's implementing tariffs that impact the cryptocurrency market, he is effectively committing crimes where there would normally be checks and balances for somebody, but he gave himself that kingly power where he can not get consequences for things he does that are illegal. Insider trading is illegal. You can't affect these things. You can't do something that would affect your own investments. It's not illegal. So here's how these tariffs are having an effect. Increased costs for U.S. U.S. crypto miners. The tariffs, particularly a 100 100% duty on imported chips, are raising the capital expenditure needs for U.S.-based crypto miners. This could lead to slower expansion and higher operational costs for mining companies. You use Brave? I don't even know what even is that. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. It looks like it's actually a pretty safe one that blocks crypto stuff. I think that's probably why you can't see it. Because it's blocking things. That's probably why. It wouldn't hurt to just like open it in like Chrome or something. You could probably just open it there. Like just try to like it's probably because it's blocking because the browser's like super safe, and it's like I don't know. It's fine. It's just Bitdefender. Like it's literally their website. So anyway, oh, also don't like don't like click the link. Like you want to copy it because that could do it too. Anyway, market volatility and correlation. Tariff announcements have caused short-term dips and increased volatility in the crypto market, with Bitcoin and Ethereum prices. Ethereum. I think that says Ethereum. See, I didn't hear about that one. So, Ethereum. Okay, prices fluctuating in response. Cryptocurrencies often demonstrate a correlation with broader financial markets, and tariff-induced economic uncertainty can lead investors to shift towards safer assets. Yeah, like it's like this is just Gemini's breakdown of me literally saying, did Trump just make a tariff that would have an impact on cryptocurrency? That's all I said. I literally just asked, did Trump make a tariff that would have an impact on cryptocurrency? And then it just literally started telling me all this. President Trump's administration has recently implemented new tariffs that are impacting various sectors, including the cryptocurrency market. So it's literally an entire Ponzi scheme by the Trump administration, and they're getting away with it. And it's incredibly illegal. Potential long-term impacts on the U.S. mining industry. If high tariffs persist, some foresee industry consolidation, a decline in the U.S. share of the global hash rate, and a potential shift towards domestic ASIC manufacturing to reduce a lot of reliance on foreign hardware, according to investing.com. This is insane. Bitcoin has a potential hedge despite short-term volatility. Some analysts suggest that Bitcoin might emerge as a hedge against inflation and economic instability caused by tariffs, potentially seeing increased demand as investors seek alternative assets. Jeez. It's important to note that the long-term impact on these tariffs in the cryptocurrency market remains uncertain and will depend on various factors, including the duration of the tariffs, which we know Trump doesn't ever plan to stop using them. He just keeps using tariffs, forcing people to do whatever he wants. And then again, they just in turn literally just match the tariff, so it causes a trade war and literally just poses more cost for us. The global economic response and the future regulatory landscape for cryptocurrencies. Well, we know the global economic response is that they're pulling out and our US dollar is going down. And as for the future regulatory landscape of cryptocurrencies, we know that Don Jr. is taking care of that. He's all putting them in all in one spot so they all crash. Yeah. Yeah. Investors agree with me, like, that this is like, all this stuff is huge red flags, huge Ponzi scheme written all over it, and really, 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 really costly to the US dollar and just us as a whole. So, I mean, again, we're not trying to get political here, but it's hard to deny a real scam when it's unfolding in front of us, when we're like kind of talking about this, and it all just ends up coming back to the Trump administration in the long run. So we weren't necessarily trying to go that route, but ended up there it is again. So just again using our brains to deduce what's going on, we ended up there again. So anyway, yeah. All right. So let's see. Not a fan. Not a. None of my browser are working with that link. I am using Firefox now. It does not work on it. That's a shame. I mean, I can give it to you again, but there's really no point because it's the same link. I don't think anybody else is having any issues, though. The link seems to work just fine. So, it's kind of interesting that you're having an issue with all of your browsers. It's actually very interesting. So we're going just fine for me, so So anyway, so are you from? Oh well, that's why. That's why, Jacqueline the gamer. That's why. I had to go to your. I had to go to your page. You're from. You're from. You're from out of the country. So that'd be why you have different restrictions on things you can look at and stuff like that. It's probably blocked for you. I don't know why. That's really weird. But it's probably blocked. Just seeing that you're way out there. So, yeah, it's probably what that is. It's probably just blocking it in your area for some reason. So yeah, if that hopefully that helps. Um, why did they lose all that money? I'm not sure what you mean. I use a VPN, then that's why. If you're using a VPN, it very well might be why, because you can't, there's certain things you can't view on a VPN because it puts you on the server with that VPN. So then it's restricted on that server. It's like restricts certain things. You have to turn off the VPN and load the site. Sometimes that'll work. But anyway, we're probably gonna go ahead and stop. That's enough for today. But again, modern scams, they're meant to look real. And it's really a shame that, like, you can't buy anything in the States anymore, like a razor or like all these things that like we use that are electronic devices without buying a cable. So you start wondering, are these big companies creating this on purpose to get you hacked so they can eventually get your data? Because remember, they used to try to get your email in some way. So like, I often wonder if they know what's happening. Because again, how many times are we seeing all these cables being sold where it's just a cable and you buy it and the cable hacks you? Like, literally, they sell you a cable, third party, and the cable, as soon as you plug it into your phone or your laptop or your whatever, it now has control of that device. And that's what's happening. So I often wonder why they're doing this. Why? And specifically, too, these devices that require a specific amperage or whatever to charge, and then you have to go buy that? What? Are you trying to get somebody to break that thing by having the incorrect powered? Like, that's the point. I often wonder if they're trying to cause some sort of problem for their own device so that you go buy another one or something like that. I often wonder why. Like, why is there so many things like that? And so you have to rationalize somewhere along the way that's happening. Just like with a new phone anymore. They don't have them. You won't get the power block anymore. You get a cable, but that's it. You don't get the power block anymore. And isn't that weird? So you have to buy one? That's weird. Why wouldn't it? You just paid how much money for that thing and it doesn't come with the thing that powers it properly? That's weird to me. So now you're gonna go buy one, you're gonna know about electricity. You probably don't. Something's going on there. So the whole point is that there's all these third-party sellers, there's all these people selling cables that hack you, things that hack you, and stuff like that. And then at the same time, we have big companies not putting legitimate hardware in the devices, so then people have to. So then it's like, it's not really their fault. Like, they just needed to get that thing. They didn't understand. So all that's happening is the scammer is finding out about these things, but then, the company just doesn't seem to do anything and proceeds forward and not really caring. So it's on us to recognize these things as they happen, recognize how they happen. And, just like with buying a third-party cable and stuff, being able to recognize certain things, about it and things like that, you need to, like, for example, like, I don't know that I would buy a charging cable from a gas station. You know what I'm saying? Like, anymore. Like, maybe one day I would have. But anymore? Nah, I just wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I don't think it's the gas station. But the amount of people that are in there and stuff like that, you never know. You get what I'm saying? I'm not going to theorize the scam because then they're just going to go do that. So, you get what I'm saying? Did an app from Google Play Store steal from people? Yeah. It's that, is it, hold on. It's an app called, oh no, it was over 331 apps that did. Various QR scanners, health apps, wallpaper apps, expense tracking apps. It was things like that. It was like a whole bunch of different things. It wasn't just like one app. It was over like 300 different apps. And again, it was like tons and tons. 60 million downloads, I think. Yeah, 60 million downloads. Yep. So anyway, I gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta wrap up. But thank you all. Thanks, Jacqueline the Gamer. Appreciate the chat. Appreciate everybody else. Thank you all so much for watching, for the likes, for everything else. Whether you subscribed or whatever, I really appreciate it. And hope you all have a good rest of your day. And stay safe with all the scams out there.